nalo ngembono yalo kwikomiti.
Our public hearings are ending today here in Western Cape.
Namhlanje siyagqibezela ukuba novavanyo nabantu apha kweli lentshona koloni.
So this is an important meeting that you must contribute to this discourse. You must be free to talk to the members of the committee.
Imbalo wokuba nina njengoba nizile phefumlani thethani ngokukhululekileyo kwikomiti njengokuba ilapha phambi kwenu.
Political parties, individuals, NGOs must be respected when they are on the podium.
Amaqela politiko abantu imibutho yabucala mabahlonitshwe kanjalo xa seba nikela igalelo labo kumba.
We are starting our meeting at 10 o'clock. We end at 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Siyayiqala ngentsimbi yeshumi intlanganiso leyethu sijonge ukuba ngecala emveni kwentsimbi yeshumi nesibini ukuya kwintsimbi yokuqala ibe iyaphethwa okokuthi kuvalwe itetha yethu.
We are not going to exclude anyone to make a contribution to this meeting.
Asizukutyekeza nabanina apha eluntwini ze ubani abe akayifumenanga indima yakhe yokwenza igalelo lakhe kule nhlangano.
You are going to be allocated 5 minutes to make your submission.
Mntu ngamnye uyawunikwa imizuzu ibe mihlanu hanikela igalelo athethe ukwenje njalo.
When your time has lapsed and when we request you to shift for another person, you must appreciate that we are respecting your right to contribute, but at least let's accommodate all our people to make a contribution.
Lakuphela ixesha lakho xa kucelwa ukuba shenqa yazi okokuba uhloniphekile nelungelo lakho lihlonitshiwe. Koko kulindeleke ukuba nawe unike ilungelo uhloniphe nomnye ozemva kwakho ofuna uba negalelo.
The understanding is that once we have concluded all the public hearing, the committee will then deliberate later on the reports, on the issues, and consolidate a report to the National Assembly for consideration.
Masiqonde ukuba yawugqitywa yonke ingxelo yegalelo lenu ikomiti le iyakushwankathela ibe nengxelo eyibhalayo ezayibhekisa kundlunkulu eParliament.
So ourselves here as a committee members, we don't have any decision or view to express now. Only yourself to listen, to take notes with the team of our staff who are recording your notes.
Thina njengamalungu eParliament alapha phambi kwenu asinasigqibo esinaso nto nje size kumamela amagalelo enu siwathathe siwabhekise ngaphambili.
We are informed that there was an advanced team of Parliament to interact with members of the community on this Electoral Amendment Bill.
Sichazelwe okokuba bekukho iqela elichongweyo laseParliament ebelikho ukuba malithethe libonisane nani ngembalo ozawuqwalaselwa.
We are going to invite hands. We first take 10 hands. There are 10 chairs here. And then when they are finished, we take another set of hands in that order so that we're orderly on how we run our proceedings.
Sizawulindela igalelo lenu apha phakathi ezazitulo ziqubudileyo zilishumi kuzawuhlalwa lishumi lokuqala labantu. Xa ugqitywa ngabo kwenziwe njalo uba kunikwa abanye igalelo mntu ngamnye abe negalelo lakhe.
And when we are going to close, Honorable Ruos will then take us forward on the process, how we're going to move forward as the portfolio committee.
Xa sizawugqiba ohloniphekileyo kaRosi uya kusazisa inxaxheba eyawuthathwa ikomiti okubhekisele phambili.
I will at this stage take the opportunity to acknowledge and welcome the Senior Paramount Chief C. Botha,
Ndawuthatha inyweba yokwamkela ohloniphekileyo uNkosi uSipho.
I will also take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Paramount Chief Vernon
Khona nomnye
Andreas.
ohloniphekileyo uNkosi uVermon.
I've been advised that the other members have only been given notice on the two. If the other senior leadership will be advised by Mr. Matonzi.
Bendaziswe ngaba bapheli babini ukuba abanye bakwaziswa ngohloniphelekileyo okaMathonsi.
Then we'll acknowledge them. We'll also acknowledge councillors who are here.
Baqaphela nokuceba abakhoyo apha siyabaqaphela sibahlonipha nabo.
Who serve in various municipalities.
Basebenza komasipala abahlukeneyo.
If the dignitaries who are here, we are requested to approach Mr. Matonzi so that we acknowledge all of you.
Okoba kukho indwendwe ezihloniphekileyo niyacelwa umnumzana uMathonsi phaya nindwendwele yena ukwenzela uba kuzoqatshelwa nobukho benu.
All of you, you are welcome. This is your meeting.
Kelekile le ntlanganiso intlanganiso yenu.
We are going to raise hands, 10 hands.
Nizawuphakamisa izandla ishumi lokuqala labantu.
Then you come to the podium. Our team will assist us.
Nawuphakamisa izandla nizipho kuguqe khona izitulo sawuncedwa ngabasincedisayo ukunixhasa ukunixhasa.
Yeah. Now we're starting. It's your time. We're going to request show of hands for those who want to make contributions.
Lixesha lethu lokuqalisa ngonje silindele kuni niphakamisa izandla abo baza kuthabatha inxaxheba.
Dit word nou gelees.
Number 1, 2, you can join. Yes, you can join here.
Aba babini yani pha phambili.
Number 3 at the back with the red cap, yes.
Wesithathu nekepisi emhlophe phambili
Number
yaba.
4 at the, yes, with the black cap, yes, join.
Kepisi emnyama uyaba ngowesine.
Is this our first 4?
Abantu bethu abane bokuqala aba.
Number 5, yes. Fighter, yes, yes, yes. With the
Owesihlanu nanko hier nou.
Die vyfde ene
No,
is
you
die
can just sit down
is
and
die
talk.
rooi TM.
So you are allowed, you can talk, you can use any other language with our team that is going to assist us to communicate for purpose of our recording. You introduce your name and your surname so that our team record. When you have a submission written, when you finish speaking, there's a chair there, just drop off there in front of you, yeah, that chair. Yes.
Ningathetha uyakwazisa igama lakho. Thetha pha uba intetho yakho ibhalwe benje kweso sitwa.
Daar gaan aanvoerings wees die mense wat in die middelste gang sit wat nou aangedui is. Ek dink dit is die eerste 5 is. Die orde van die gesprekke gaan gevoer word as volg. Ek gaan die mondelikse aanvoering gaat u doen en indien u dit neergeskryf het op 'n papier, kan u dit net neersit op die stoel. Sodra u klaar is, dat sal iemand dit daar opneem en dit oorhandig. Nou die voor die spreker sal praat, sal hy sy naam gee, hy sal sy van gee en dan heel moontlik van watter agtergrond hy kom en vir wie hy verteenwoordig, sodat die huis kan weet wie praat en namens wie praat die persoon. Baie dankie.
Can we
Good morning all. Can you hear me? Again, thank you. I'm Nicholas Boyson. I'm an activist on the ground and also a councillor. I'm standing here in behalf of the DA. Our stand is clear. The DA supports the bill in its current form, that independent candidates should be allowed to exercise the right to stand for public office. I think I leave it here, then I think my fellow colleague will present the following one. There's a reason why we support, there's reasons what we must put in the bill. I thank you.
Goeiemôre, ek is Nicholas Boyson. Ek verteenwoordig ek praat namens die DA en ek is 'n soos ons sê 'n straat 'n werker. En my kollega wat nou gaan praat, gaan die uitbreiding gee, maar in kort wil ek sê dat ons ondersteun hierdie wet. My kollega gaan verder uitbrei waarom ons ondersteuning gee.
Isithethe suka apha unguceba usuka kwiqela le-DA kwaye bona bayayixhasa ke lo mthetho uyilwayo uthi ke xa wakhe uzawunika ke izizathu ezibangela uba babe bayaxhasa.
Good morning.
One, two. Okay.
Apologize. Let's just 4 minutes. Apologize.
panel. My name is Mervyn Barnard. I'm the chairperson of Ward 9 in Mosselbay. In Mosselbay. The DA support the bill in its current form, that independent candidates should be allowed to exercise their right to stand for public office. But we object for the independent candidates to be on a PR list. If they want to be on a PR list, it means they want to be treated as a collective and not as individuals. They will therefore be required to register a political party. We want to iterate that independents must only contest individually and not as a collective, as there will be no PR list for independent candidates. If an independent candidate meets the threshold for election to a constituency seat, the surplus votes must be discarded. Even in our current local electoral system, there are wasted votes when voters vote for smaller parties who then don't get enough votes to get a seat. Those votes they did receive are discarded. No one has complained about the constitutionality of this before, or that it violates the principle of proportionality. The seat of an independent candidate who passes away or resigns, etc., must remain vacant until the following national and parliamentary elections. The DA's point of view is that system involving position. We support the principle of direct accountability.
No, right before he comes.
Die vorige spreker het 'n breedvoerige redes verskaf om ons en grondwetlike reg kan hê om uit te voer om te kan staan as 'n onafhanklike kandidaat, maar dan nie as 'n gesamentlik nie. En dan moet hierdie kandidaat sou hy dan hierdie reg uitvoer, dan sou hierdie kandidaat nou op 'n latere stadium sê na die 4 jaar termyn verstreke is, dan sou hierdie kandidaat ook op 'n wyse hierdie kandidaat aanvang word.
State away my tree quiet back yelana Kuba ke le meeting yenu sizawucela nesiphi imizuzwana noba ilishumi uba kulungiswe le ngxaki ingathi iyasivelela apha. Sawubuyela ke ngekorathu.
Ons sal kwart voor terug wees.
I just heard it because I was moving. I don't know what it's all about. That's umamele indlebe. This one is on the whole time now. It's on the whole time now. Total nonsense.
One.
I've just asked him now, he doesn't even have a backup mic.
Yeah, so let him then do this. If one of the transmitter, I think there's two mics running on the transmitter. So, what's happening? I saw now, as soon as you put this one is on, now the people don't switch it off. Now chair puts on, then it cuts out everything.
Cut off, like
So
this
then
one, you see now.
So then you only use two mics. Then you use this mic, then the translators must not just line up here. So if this guy translates, then they will not stand up. And when he finished talking, he must go sit and then translate. Then it cuts the other one off here.
Let's cut one mic. One mic at a time. Let's cut one mic. We'll have three.
Okay.
This is no, must have 1, 2. Yeah, have 1, 2, and 3. Then 4. The fourth one. Yeah, what? 2.
This is 1, 2, and 3.
Where's this one? Yeah, that one kill it. Switch it off. Don't put it aside.
Let's test it. I'm gonna talk, no? And then say something also on the other mic. Then you see if it's gonna cut out
Yeah,
the things.
1, 2.
Yes, 1, 2. Checking 1, 2. Talk on that mic also, then we can see if it cuts out. It cuts out.
So we're gonna use only. You see? Not coming.
Speak on it, it's all.
Yeah, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Kill the first one. Let's put this. Try this one on here.
Yeah, okay, I'll test here.
Number 6, yeah. 2, 2. So you guys will use one and then we'll just swap around, Muslim.
Okay.
2, 2. Check and fit. Chairperson is on number 2. No? Yeah, testing this one. Number 6.
Number 6.
Okay.
Can extend this cable. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to.
All people inside.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, no, the one who are outside.
Yeah. Two. Almost 7. You still have to open 7. I would.
2.
Try checking from there, man, because of the trade.
Yeah. Two. 1, 2, and 2, and 2, and 2, and 2. Number 3, this one. 2. Two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Do yours? Are you going through? Sure. Thanks. One, two, and 2, and 2.
Thank you very much. We again appreciate your understanding so that we sort out our issues. We also want to apologize for interrupting your meeting. On behalf of the committee, we take responsibility on the challenges that we have experienced because it's also deal with your time. We really apologize. We want to request those that are on the passage to respect the audience, yeah? Yes, thank you. Before we start, we also want to appreciate and acknowledge the Paramount Chief, Bishop Baiki of the Corona Royal House. Thanks very much. And other leaders or councillors, you are welcome and appreciated. We are going to proceed. I apologize for making you to. We hope you didn't change your views. Yeah, you can proceed.
Manqale ndisibulisele kumalungu eParliament. Igama lami nguSiyabulela Kolanisi from eNaisna. Ndingunobhala we-South African Communist Party, Cognisant branch. Singamabomvana asihambiselani nawo lo umthetho kuziwa nawo ukuthi. Ngoba ke yawucaca ukuthi abantu bakuthi bayawusokola kokoko xa sozivume lo mthetho. Asinothi sibawela ngokuba kukhathwe kwale mibutho mininzi kangaka. Now ukuba ke niza ukuthi nifakelele i-independent ozimele geqe loo nto leyo yakubangela ukuthi ke inkonzo zingakwazi ufika ebantwini bakuthi ngoba ozimele geqe bakhokhela iziqu zabo. I-budget ayizukwazi uku-approve sinomasipala abaninzi hang municipalities because of independent candidates. Loo nto leyo ke ibangela ukuthi like inkonzo ziye nzima ebantwini bakuthi. So singamabomvana siyahambiselana lo mthetho.
Thank you. Next.
Sithethe sisuka kule ndawo uSiyabulela.
No,
So-
proceed. No, proceed. You're right.
Sorry, the speaker that just spoke now is Siyabulela, is the secretary of the SACP Cognisant branch in Naisna. They don't support the bill because they say there's already too many political parties. So the inclusion of independent candidates will hinder service delivery and will further split the budget.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Enkosi mhlali ngaphambili. Welcome Chala from Plettenberg Bay. I come from Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association. Chairperson, I would like to raise a point that pains me first before I make an input on the actual business of the day. The communication regarding today's event, it's a big problem. We only received the information on Saturday evening. Now, to prepare for such an enormous task which involves elections, 4 days, it's a disservice. It's a disservice because I understand that this is not just a PR exercise, so that you can go back and report to Parliament and say, no, we held public participation program for the Southern Cape. Because when we consider this process, there are various source documents that one has to go through first before you make a stand or you take a position. I will start, the first one will like to consider is the Concord judgment so that one familiarizes himself with the issues that were raised, so that the Concord arrived at the decision it made in the 10th of June in 2020. As a result, because of we received the information late, we couldn't prepare thoroughly to give meaningful input. There's also other documents that also are on the public domain that were dealing with the same subject matter, which is elections. The Van Zyl-Slabbert report. One could not go through that because there was no time. There's also the Ministerial Advisory Committee report. One could not go through thoroughly through it because on the Ministerial Advisory Committee report, there were two proposals that were made to Cabinet, which is the first one is the minimalist approach, and the second one is the multi-member proportional system. However, Cabinet chose to go with the minimalist. Now we are not aware what informed the decision by Cabinet to go for that, because there was no time to prepare. However, because of we are here, as MKMVA, we support the bill. However, we request that this committee revisit Southern Cape again so that we can make the necessary research regarding the subject matter and make meaningful contributions. Because for now, if we do that, we will be doing a disservice to our people. And as a result, the bill, it's a rush situation. And it cannot be like that because this is a crucial subject that we are dealing with. The minister tabled the bill on the 10th, if I'm correct, of January this year. And the deadline in terms of the Constitutional Court judgment, it's 10 June. I will therefore request the committee to go back and ask the minister in Parliament to approach the Constitutional Court for extension because we cannot do proper work on this bill in a period of 4 months. Then we will be doing disservice to our people. But as far as the bill is concerned, we support it, although there is still too much work that has still to be done on the bill before we can fully support it. I thank you.
Thank you very much for your input and submission. Let's just deal with this matter so that we dispose it quickly. The first, when we introduced the purpose, we indicated that Constitutional Court judgment took a decision, directed Parliament, and Parliament outlined the process moving forward. The minister appointed a task team of former Minister Valemusa. That task team extensively dealt and consulted various stakeholders so that it produced a foundation for this amendment electoral bill. They have submitted the report to the Cabinet last year, and Cabinet interacted with the report on the two recommendations. And the amendment from Cabinet that was tabled in Parliament recommend a particular minimalist option. Now, we then set the committee immediately because the committee could not conduct public hearings outside the process of the bill being tabled in Parliament and referred to the committee. Now, the committee issued invitation publicly, and there's written submissions to that effect, which we have confirmed to ourselves here. There was an oral, what do you call it, Honorable Rose, national public hearings, which we invited various stakeholders. I think there were 14 or 15 NGOs which represents particular constituencies on the 2nd and the 3rd, and that was public. And we started with the public hearings throughout the country for members of the public to interact. Now, immediately the committee received a reference that there's a bill was tabled in Parliament and the committee must interact. The committee then reflected on the question of time frame of the Constitutional Court judgment. We took a decision as a committee that we must request Parliament, through Parliament, to approach the Constitutional Court to extend time so that meaningful and sufficient engagement on the part of the Portfolio Committee, National Assembly, and further on the part of the NCOP, so that there's sufficient engagement on the matter you've raised, that you needed sufficient, and also for the committee to exhaust the issues that you are raising. So is that effect that we have also considered earlier on, and that decision has been taken. That's why, but we're awaiting the Constitutional Court a response. So I just wanted us to alert on the important matter is raised, so that we clarify it before we proceed, so that other members may not come to raise the same issues. But I think we appreciate that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, because it's an important amendment that the people of South Africa must interact and satisfy themselves. What as a committee, we don't have a decision, we can confirm here. We don't have a decision on the amendment now. We're going to deliberate once we've concluded on the issues throughout the country. We've received written submissions, oral submissions that were conducted on the 2nd and the 3rd of March. And the committee will write a report to the National Assembly. So I just want to quickly clarify that, but it's an important matter, the MKVA, if I'm pronouncing the organization you are representing correctly, that you have raised, and we appreciate that point. Can we invite another set of hands? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then we'll then end, and then we'll bring another set of hands. Thank you.
Mandithathe lithuba ndizazise lo ume phambi kwenu nguSibabalwa kwaDubula, uward council waseward 1 apha eMosselbay. Ukangu-deputy chairperson kulaa branch yasesixhaxheni ibranch ngapha eward 1. Lo mthetho niza nawo kule ndawo nje thina as a ANC esizixhasayo kuwo, singawuxhasi wonke ngokupheleleyo. Umcimbi wePR siyawuxhasa singumbutho wesizwe, into yokubana usebenze ngohlobo enozana nawo ngawo. Indawo esingayixhasiyo ngumcimbi kaMthuzimele, uzimele egeqe independent ngalasemzini. Seyiminintsi kakhulu imibutho seyikhona eParlamente esingayiboni imisebenzi yayo ugqibeleni ngoba banguzithuzimele. Yenze loo nto leyo ke imali yoMzantsi Afrika ilahleke ngoba bahleli nje phaa eParlamente akho nto bayenzayo. Into esiyicingayo nesiyifunayo ngumcimbi nokubana imibutho bangabe umzaba nombutho ibe ngumbutho opheleleyo ncakasana, angazimeli. Mandime kuloo ndawo andizibamde, enkosi.
Siyabule.
The speaker who was here just now is Babalo Tubula from One Council 1. He's a councillor and he's also the branch chair for Sxaxeni branch. As the ANC, they support some parts of the bill, not the bill in its entirety. The PR issue, they do support as is, but they don't support independent candidates because they believe that there's already too many political parties in parliament whose function is not visible. So they do not support the independent candidates.
Thank you. Next.
Mandibulise Mhlekazi, to the chairperson. Igama lami nguLuzuko. I'm from Pito sub-region. I'm a member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. I just want to quickly state what is our position as far as EFF is concerned in relations to the proposed amendment bill. I would like to categorically state that as the EFF, we do not support the bill. We do believe that as the country, in fact, if we have this bill, if we allow the independent candidates to contest, it will cause an administrative nightmare to the IEC. We already know that currently the IEC is experiencing an administrative nightmare. Therefore, as the EFF, we oppose to that idea, and therefore we would like it not to be considered. The second part is that we do of the view that the bill, that it's not going to strengthen the democracy. What is going to happen is that you will have people, the bill is going to be hijacked or used by people who have money to infiltrate the oversight and the legislative process to control those independent candidates. So the independent candidates, as we know, that they are not accountable to any collective, they're accountable to themselves. So you'll have individuals who have money, who are going to fund those people just to have an access to what is happening at the legislative level. So therefore, as the EFF, we reject that. We're saying, though, because the Concord has already taken a position, we then say, look, if we let it be allowed that those comrades contest, so those independent contest the elections under the conditions that their threshold in terms of the nomination must not be lesser than 20,000. And the IEC must be able to verify those voters. And we argue as EFF, in fact, we submit that those voters must be registered. That is our part of our submission. We are saying that they should be allowed based on those conditions. The second condition that we would like to submit as the EFF is that because currently the political parties, there's a certain amount of money that they must deposit. We are arguing, we would like to submit that the independent candidates must also pay the same amount of money. That is not, it must not be refundable. That is what we would like to submit as the EFF. The second last part that we would like to submit as the EFF is that those, for example, if the independent candidate has received votes for he or she, for he or she to be able to go into parliament. Let's say hypothetically you are supposed to get 20,000 in order for you to go to the legislature or to go to the national parliament. If it's 20,000, should you get plus minus 25,000? We are saying the 5,000 must be forfeited. And anyway, you are still going to get equal representation like any other parties. That is the submission that we would like to make as the EFF. And we are also saying that if an independent candidate, for example, dies or resigns, we shouldn't hold a by-election. Otherwise, as a country, we will forever be in the permanent state of by-election. Thank you very much, Chairperson. That is an EFF position.
Thank you. Next.
Mandizibulisele kwindlu enkulu yeParlamente umalungu onke akhoyo apha. Igama lam ndinguzukile Rhorhwana, ndiphuma ePlatenburg Bay phaya ePitcho Municipality. Ndingu-organizer we-United Front, AUF. Si-United Front, umbutho ozimeleyo, siyasapota lo mthetho. Isizathu soba siwusapote lo mthetho, xa urhulumente evuma ukuthi i-independent le mibutho izimeleyo bakwazi ukungenela ulonyulo koomasipala nakwi-district, kutheni kunganokwazi ukuvunyelwa ukuthi bakwazi ukungenela ulonyulo phaya kuNdlunkulu, ku-national, kwi-province? Ngokuba kaloku le mibutho emikhulu iye ifune ukuzenzela, benzela le nto zii-dictators, bethi besithi abahlali sifuna uzibanibani, bona bathi bengumbutho, umbutho ugqibile uthethile bafuna ubani. Ithethe ukuthi ke ngokwamalungelo wabantu ayanyatsheka ngolo hlobo olo. Asikwazi ke sile mibutho mincinci siyeke sibone isizwe sakowethu sitshabalala. Noko sithi ukhona IEC unendlela aqhuba ngayo kwaba masipala, uzawuqhuba ngohlobo aqhuba ngalo naxa kuphaya ku-national. Noko masilibulele ethuba masiyinikwe le nyweba singenele ulonyulo pha nakwi-provinces kunye napha ku-national. Enkosi.
Thank you.
I greet, I am Okwana, and I'm from the municipality. I'm from the United Front Independent Organization. I support this bill as we are from the supporting the municipal elections. Why not should we also have national elections like big organizations? There should be no dictation of any organization. We have spoken. We need not violate the people's right, citizens or endanger the citizens' rights. We as nationally, we support this bill that is envisaged here.
Thank you. Can proceed.
Ngosi Mhlakazi. Mandibulise kwi panel. Ndibulise nakumuntu wonke olapha endlini. Mna ndinguHendi Sandla wakwampe. Ndisuka eBhito Municipality. Ndisuka kumbutho we-African National Congress, ndingunobhala wesebe iBoys Nyakatya branch eWard 5. Thina singumbutho wesizwe, umbutho othe waququzelela bonke abantu balapha eSouth Africa into yoba ngaba babe kanti namhlanje bayayixhamla indyeba yokuba kanti bakhululeke. Thina sasoloko siyixhasa into yoba ngaba i-PR system, kodwa asiyixhasi yonke. I-option esiyixhasayo maqabane yila Minister Advisory Committee that is going to go to constitutional order maqabane. Maqabane buya ukhumbula sinemibutho emininzi ngoku ukuba ngaba sizawuvumela aba nomgogwana, which means into yoba ngaba loo nto ixelela into yoba ngaba sizabana 20 or 30 pages kwi-ballot papers esizawuthi sibe nazo. Loo nto leyo iyawubangela into yoba ngaba abantu bethu bangakwazi ukuthatha inxaxheba kakuhle kulonyulo, ngoba abantu uzawutyhila up to 30 pages ekhangelana nombutho wakhe. Loo nto maqabane sithi loo nto leyo izawutya ixesha elininzi, iyawubangela into yoba ngaba nobalo luthathe ixesha elide. ANC asiyixhasi into yoba ngaba mayenzeke loo nto leyo maqabane. Sifuna into yoba ngaba ANC onomgogwana aba nabo mabangenelele elonyulweni njengemibutho yezopolitiko maqabane, bangangeni njengonomgogwana. Asiyixhasi si-ANC loo nto leyo maqabane. Sithi ke maqabane nabo mabeze, kodwa mabaze njengemibutho yezopolitiko maqabane. Yeah, as same terms as political parties maqabane. So asivumelani maqabane into yoba ngaba sibe neballot ende kakhulu kangaka yana. Yeah, enkosi comrade yam, i-ANC yenza ke lo submission maqabane. Besifuna ke noyihenda i-submission zethu maqabane ziqokelelwe. Enkosi comrade yam. Thanks.
I am from the municipality. I'm the ANC secretary at the branch level. the organization fought for freedom. We always support, but not all military organizations. Many organizations, but non-organizations that are progressive. We are not supporting the idea of having various organizations. On the ballot paper, people will not act correctly or at all. It will be a time waste. As the ANC, we do not support. There are these so-called stooge organizations. They are not representing properly. And the political organizations that are representing the people and their ballots should be considered at all times.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Elias Daimani, coming from Riversdale, Hesekwa. I'm the councillor of the African National Congress. I think, Chair, I won't dwell much because the previous speaker has touched on is the same submissions which I was going to make as already alluded to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Goeiemorgen. Ek is senior paramount chief, King Kona Cornelius Botha van die Kona Esekwe Royal Kingdom, Western Cape in South Africa. Residing in Knysna. I played up in Knysna. Right. Mr. Chair, I don't know. Parliament is not listening to the people at all. They always come with excuses and excuses and excuses. You know what happened here? By coincidence, let's say by toeval, per toeval, het ek verneem aan van julle visit aan die Suid-Kaap. What a shame. En dan parlement laat my verstaan, hulle soek so lank aan die leiers van die munisipaliteite en die mense wat verantwoordelik is, en ek kan nie verstaan waarvoor is hulle daar nie. Nou moet ons lei as die gemeenskap. Jy sien, ek dink ons het 'n fout gemaak 94. En dit word my elke keer te laat verstaan dat dit was wat dit is. Ons het 'n fout gemaak. Ek wil stil staan. Die submissions kan nie ingaan vandag, nog minder môre, nog minder in 'n maand, want ek wil hê die hof moet julle in die hande kry. Weet jy hoekom? Julle disrespek die inwoners van Suid-Afrika. Julle disrespek die ware inwoners van Suid-Afrika. En ek wil vir die parlement vra, wil julle hê die volgende moet met julle gebeur, as wat die ander dag met die ontwikkeling in Kaapstad gebeur het. Ons kan hof toe gaan, ons weet hoe om te praat, en ons gaan dit stop, want as ons die gemors in Suid-Afrika gaan stop nie, dan gaan foreigners aanhou vir ons kom vertel en dictate wat is reg en wat is verkeerd. Ek is nie 'n foreigner nie. Respekteer my as die eienaar van die land, dan respekteer ek vir jou. So, my woord is duidelik. Aan die nasionale party, aan die DA, aan die ANC, aan die EFF en wat 'n politieke party daar ook al is. Hou op om ons as die inwoners van Suid-Afrika te ondermyn. Ek wil nie hê jy moet my sien aan my verkeerde kant nie. Ek wil nie hê jy wil my sien daai kant nie. Maar ek maak, as jy gedink het voor 93 was nou reële gemors, dan gaan jy nog 'n gemors sien. Want weet jy wat? Ek hoor nou die submissions, die een nou nie van dit nie, die een van onafhanklik, want hulle is te bang, hulle gaan uitgevang raak. Dis moet nie onafhanklike kandidaate daar soek nie. Want as hy te min vir hulle om te steel en te syp in die nag en parties te hou. Hulle dink ek weet nie daarvan nie. Die dag gaan kom wanneer die troontjie gaan val. Die dag gaan kom wanneer die troontjie gaan val. Hoor my woorde. Laat ek die laaste van my God sê. Abate. Ti. Eloche. Carry me, my God. Dra my, my God, om hom te laat val. In Jesus' naam. Amen.
The speaker who just spoke is Mr. Botha from Neisner, and he feels that Parliament is not listening to the people. They always have excuses. They're always stating to be seeking leaders and people from the Parliament to stand for the communities, but that's why they are there. South Africans are disrespected is how he feels, and he feels that we will stop the foreigners from doing as they please in our land because respect is a two-way street. And he feels that Parliament people and foreigners should stop undermining South Africans in their own lands. And in conclusion, he says that the day will come for all this unfairness to stop.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the submissions. The committee has taken note of the submissions. Can we invite further hands? Number one, you can join. Number two, at the back. Number three. Any other hand? Number four. Any other hand? Okay. Now we'll work on this. Yes. The intention is not to suppress anyone. Anyone who wants to raise members of the community must be free to talk to the issues. Okay. You can proceed, ma'am.
Goeiemôre. Ek is Jazyn Grootboom, 'n inwoner van Calisdorp, Kannaland. Ek is hier namens die jeug van die ANC. En weer eens wil ek net vandag by julle weet. Ek is 'n jong moeder wat 'n dogter groot maak. My vraag is net en my vrees, hoe kry ons dit reg om kandidaate in te sit as raadslede met bedrogsaake, verkrachtingssaake? Ons weet nie meer, hulle maak sake, hulle maak klagtes oop, dien sake in. Ons projekte word gestop. Ons weet nie meer waar dit ons laat nie. Ons harte is seer. Ons gaat lê honger, ons kindertjies. Hoe kry ons dit reg? Hoe dien ons nou? Hoe stem ons nou verder vir kandidaate en raadslede as dit so gaan? Ons dorp word vernietig. Alles word stil. Ons weet niks, maar ons moet stem. My vraag is, hoe kry kandidaate dit reg om steeds as raadslede te gaan staan teen sê jy alreeds sake teen jou het? Vir wie stem ons nou? Wat maak ons nou? Wat 'n tipe moeder is ek? Wat toesien om te gaan stem vir iemand wat alreeds 'n verkragsaak teen hom het? So hoe waar laat dit my as 'n jeugdiger? Vir wat stem ek eintlik? Dis my vraag. Waar laat dit my dogtertjie op die einde van die dag? As mos 'n seerpunt vir ons almal. So, dis hoe ek eintlik weet, hoe kan ons stem, hoe laat die parlement hulle toe om nog steeds te gaan staan? Hoe gaan staan? Hoe laat ons dit toe? Dat is my vraag maar net. Jou verkragsaak, 'n rypsaak. So daarmee staan ek terug, baie dankie.
My name is Alzain Grootboom, and I come from the ANC Youth League in Kanaland. I'm a single parent who's raising a daughter. And for now, my question is, how do we allow candidates to stand, and candidates who are facing charges of fraud, facing charges of rape? Our towns are being destroyed, and our people are going hungry. Yet we are, in the meantime, looking to get in candidates who have criminal charges laid against them. Where is this taking us to, and why are we voting? What are we voting for? And this is painful for us. How does Parliament allow such practices to take place? With that, I stand back.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Molweni ndisibulisele kumndongo esendlini. Igama lami ndinguluzuko. Lengcinezelo nguJerry before 94. Ndisuka kulombutho weEFF as a nice landing the Ward 7 secretary and also a member of the Labour desk in Southern Cape. Apha thina si-EFF amade ngawetyala kuthi asisupport le bill thina si-EFF kuba kaloku i-individual okanye i-independent candidates i-threshold yazo funeka ibe higher because ilongo yenzeke umzekelo ngokuthi xa ihigher uzawuthi make sure into yobana bavotelwa ngabantu abaninzi. So thina sizi-political parties ezingene nge-members ezininzi kwiparlamente. Now sawufumana laa nto ebethe ufighter bazooka apha i-nightmare okanye kuthiwa yi-tornado ngamanye amazwi. Bhuti siyacela as uchairman iparlamente yixelele ewe yona i-constitutional court itshilo yathi at least thina sithi at least 20,000 and must be verified as base submitted. Please, don't waste ixesha lethu. We do not support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
The
I'm not sure, Buti, I'm not sure those papers, you took them from the chair. Those papers, you took them from this chair. Oh, okay, okay. No, thanks.
The previous speaker is Luzuko from Naisna, is an EFF member, is also a secretary of Ward 7, and also a member of the Labour desk. They, as the EFF, don't support the bill, and he supported the sentiments that were expressed by his previous comrade, that the independent candidates' threshold must be higher, so that they must also have minimum of 20,000, because he says that they foresee that we will have an experience like a nightmare or a tornado, just as the previous EFF speaker had expressed.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Okay. Ndibulise ku-chairman, ndibulise members of parliament, ndibulise kubahlali bebonke base-Mosselbay and all other sections of Indawo. Mna ke ndingupheliswa Qampi, coming from George. I'm a councillor in George, member of the EFF. As previously our members have said, ukuthi we reject the bill independent. Just because what are we exactly saying to our children who are watching the political structure? And what are we laying down to the future and the shape of the politics? Are we saying it's okay that bawena xa ungavisisani namalungu ombutho wakho okanye xa ungavisisani ne-leadership ombutho wakho, go and open? What is happening like now? It's like anvakali. Are we saying is it okay bawena as an individual xa ungavisisani namalungu ombutho wakho, vule yakhe imbutho just because of finance and resources. Because ekugqibeleni, that is not right. And ekugqibeleni, we cannot all be leaders. Otherwise, sizawuhlala siyile chaotic South Africa siyiyo. We will never have stability because ekugqibeleni, you have to belong somewhere, you like it or not. And ekugqibeleni, you must be led. And because ekugqibeleni, if we allow land independence, which means we're saying each and every 5 years, we ballot papers, sizawubona ilist iyanyuka. Because ekugqibeleni, there's bathi zikhona, bakhona kwi-local nakwi-provincial structure. What did they do? Tell me, what did they do? Because it's all about seats. Tell me as an individual, uzovoice ntoni for abantu bakho? And are you saying, Bangabana, let's go and say to the people, vote for me. Then the rest of your votes will go to waste. Because nobody you can have 2 million votes, they're gonna round off to 1 seat because you are an individual. Ungumntu omnye. Just because when I want to account for any problems, just because when you want to buy voice yakho and say, this is right for my people, who are your people? Because you are individual. When you look at that, there's no supporting structure at you. Ingaba sitsho ngoku. Because at some point, at issues like this were not supposed to be even negotiated. It's unnegotiable land independent. Because at Kabeleni, we are trying to shape the future, politics. We are trying, because we are taken for jokes even now as politicians, just because of ngoku into ezinje. Just because of imvisiswano zethu, we want umntu akafuni uleadership, umntu akafuni kuthiwe hayi. Naphi na, even nasemakhaya, I was saying to our children, if umzala kuthi hayi mbo bethu umkhukhu wakho uyohlalela. I was saying that because sichoki politics, but if awuvano chairperson okanye nobani wako, we structure sakho branch yakho, go and open your own thing. Because that is what we are saying now as politics. Otherwise, sizawuhlala sikali emere amanzi emere eqophokleyo. So sigcwalo emere. That's what I'm saying. We reject it.
Thank you.
I greet the chair, I greet members. I am also a member, and our members reject this organization, and our children will not have a good future. We do not agree with the members of the organization. We have our own organizations, and in South Africa, we are having a chaotic situation at present. There's no stability. We do not approve this independence and the local structures. What do you vote for? Me, finally, you are one person, want your voice to be heard. This is unnegotiated issue. There are at present political problems, not good. It's the chair is open, organizations. We in an organization, we reject the system. We reject this to be implemented and put forward.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chair. My name is Marvin Minis, and I'm from Oudtshoorn. I'm there based in Ward 5, and I'm a member of the ANC. Now, I have 9 points here that I want. I'm not gonna explain everything about it, but I just want to point out some few of them. As the ANC, totally we do not agree with this bill. We do not support it. In our branch or in the ANC, for instance, one, the accountability of the independents. To who do they account to? To who do they go back and say, now, they don't have people behind them, so to whom do they account to? Independents, coalitions, and stuff like that, they are the people that's always the kingmakers. They want positions. They got maybe a few seats, then they want, let's say, president. This will not work in South Africa for independence to be in the national structure. Then our third point will be, have we ever thought about our constitution? If we allow this bill to go through, then we have to change our constitution. It will have to be amended according to the new independence that's going to come into parliament. Then we have another one. Now this one is very important. I want you to take notice of this because by coalitions in parliament, or let's say a coalition in South Africa in national government, it's not a good thing. It will never work because all those small guys, they want the big positions. What about all the big parties that are already there? like a few of the speakers already said, the IEC is already a mess. Now with independence on there, it's a total disaster. Policies in our country will have to change because all these independent guys, they want to be included in all of these policies that are already implemented in South Africa. I hope this will be an eye-opener for our party as the ANC. I hope they will see that these independents, they will make a mess of everything that's already been implemented in our country. Then there's the issues of the land. How will they provide for our people? How will they sort out the land issues that are already a problem in South Africa? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone in the House. My name is Shetrick Tinga. I am from the EFF. I am a treasurer. I was appointed recently. I am not going to raise some points that were raised by the previous candidates that were here. I would raise my own point. Now, my point with us rejecting the issue of independence candidate is that their actions do not represent what they are standing for in our communities. It is in fact, Chair, that it's happening in our community, that one who was an independent candidate doesn't follow his action as an independent candidate. We are also involved in a new school saga, which is a whole mess up. We are still trying to resolve that mess because of an independent candidate. We want you to take it to an account that we are very serious with this issue of independent candidates. South Africa, it is known about of a good governance. Now, if you fail of a good governance, Chair, it's going to be a problem. We won't have a good governance when you allow independent candidates to be part of the electoral bills of amendments. We are not pleasing you anymore. We are not asking you, but we are rejecting you to allow that process to happen. Don't fail governance. If you are failing governance, you will be failing the whole of these people are here in the House. If you look at us here, do not look at the skin color of the people that are here. Do not look what people can talk and how can they say those things. But think about where do they come from, how they survive from day to day. What are their means of surviving? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we invite another set of hands? The second hand. Yes, number 2. Number 3. Number 4. We only have 4 hands. Number 5, yes. Yeah, we only have 5 hands for now. Are you raising your hand at the back? Yes. Oh, okay. Maybe you're stretching. Okay, let's start.
Mire, Gaitzes, good morning, good day. I'm Paramount Chief Bishop Gail Baikis Lawrence from the Gorokoa Kralje in Mosselbay. I'm also part of the Kurana Royal House in South Africa. We support the bill as a Khoi people. I'm a woman of Khoi descent, and I'm a woman of Aboriginal and indigenous descent. And we support the bill with a few amendments with that. We believe that independent candidates must be able to stand in our country because as a people of Khoi descent, we might not want to belong to a political party, but we do want to have a say of what is happening in our country. So that is why we say we support independency. And then also, if an independent candidate comes into a position, that person is not standing alone. I've listened to previous speakers. That person is not the entity on her or on his own. That person has support that voted that person into that position as an independent candidate, which means that there is support, there is accountability. Now, as a paramount chief, if we say, but we want a certain person to come into a position and stand independent, then it means that our kraal or our tribe supports that independent candidate in our chieftaincy positions, and we are the voices behind that person. So we are saying that also, if an independent candidate comes in, that independent candidate must also be given the opportunity to stand as a PR member, for the reason being that person is the voice of many others behind him. They might not have a budget. We wish that could change, because if a PR councillor has got a budget, he can also bring about change in the community that he is serving. And I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, Chairman. I'm John Peterson. I'm residing in Ward 7 in Brisbane, Oudtshoorn. I'm a member of the ANC, but what I'm going to say here is my own view. And my view is that I don't support the bill for independent candidates. Now I will explain why. If this is going to be approved or accepted, it's going to make a mockery. It's going to, I don't know, just look at Oudtshoorn, my hometown. It's a shame. Whereas the ANC won 8 wards, you could get no proportional candidates, because you know how it works. Now, we formed a coalition, and it's a nightmare. No service delivery. Our people is suffering. The town is going downwards. In Afrikaans, is a saying that says, "Die stert swai nou die hond." En dat is waar. So ek sal dit nie support nie, dit is my eie view. Ek werk in die gemeenskap, en my gemeenskap suffer deur, want koalisiepolitiek werk nie. Hy sal nie werk in Suid-Afrika nie. Hoor julle my vandag? Want die plaaslik, Oudtshoorn en Kanaland is voorbeelde wat gebeur met koalisie. En daarom support ek dit nie. Want die mandaat of service delivery word nie fulfill nie. En ons mense suffer. So ek sê total nee. Dankie.
The part where Mr. Peterson says the stairs why the horn means that you are being led from behind by the tail, basically. And service delivery, as he's mentioned, but he also mentioned it in Afrikaans again, is not being met, and people's requirements and needs are not being met.
Thank you. You can proceed.
My name is Mosselbay Cornelius Nyengane, a member of the ANC, also a secretary in the Renitepi SACP. I supported this bill, but one thing that I can reject today in this bill is those independent individuals. Because those independent individuals are concerning, in my understanding, they are taking that opportunity for just to enrich themselves. Also, they are not care about the community. Also, those independent, they must be the party, not actually come as an independent only.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, everyone. Igama lami ndingu-Andisa Mamase, ndisuka eNiza. I'm an RCT member in the Southern Cape. We as EFF, we don't support this bill. Ngoba ngoku if ungabona eParliament, we have more than 100 and what political parties. So those political parties, some of them, they are very useless. If you can see now, abantu abalawulayo, umbutho olawulayo ngoku is failing us dismal. So how much more if we can put independence in the parliament? And then now youth is not working, but there is political parties. If I can be an independent, Andisa Mamase, an independent, I will do as this njengale mibutho ilawulayo ngoku. Nam ndizoqesha abantu basekhaya. Izoba ngumamase yedwa komasipala umzekelo. Because even ngoku imibutho elawulayo ngoku iqashana yodwa, iqasha ifamily, iqasha friends. So it's all about friends. How much more when the independent zipanga phakathi eParliament? So if mna ndingu-Andisa Mamase, then I will take all the mamases inside the parliament or inside the municipality. Thank you.
I'm guided by yourselves. No, if you're saying she was clear, thank you. Proceed.
Molweni, igama lami ndinguzizipho wakwamnqodolo, the RCT member ye-EFF.
Sorry, your name is who?
Zizipho. Zizipho. Zizipho.
The surname?
Mnqodolo. The RCT member ye-EFF up in Mosselbay. EFF sitha siyixhasi lena. Singayixhasi njena, it's because abantu abavotayo bambalwa. Abantu abasavote because baphelelwe lithemba. So xa uphinde kuvulelwa ezinye iparty or i-independent uba zizimele kuzabe kuselaphi, because ngoku sibala izinto ezingekhoyo abantu abafuna uvota uphinde ke ngokuthi mabavuleleke bazimele, so akuzobakho umuntu uzawufuna ukuphathwa ngomnye umuntu. So that's why sitha siyixhasi.
Thank you.
Previous speakers from the EFF here in Mosselbay, they don't support the bill because they say that their voters are getting fewer because people have lost hope in the system and then they don't vote anymore. So they foresee that the situation will worsen with the independent voters because everybody will want to stand for themselves.
Thanks, proceed.
Igama lami ndingumkhululi Papa Sifani, ndisuka eNiza sub-region, the RCT member kulo mbutho kuthiwa yi-EFF. As the EFF, we do not support the bill because as a country, we do not think that we are ready to administratively for the bill, both from the IEC and Parliament, over and above the other political challenges it will bring. This bill is not going to strengthen our democracy. Instead, it is just going to be used to infiltrate oversight and the legislative process by people who want to use money to control individuals that are not accountable to a collective, but for themselves. We know this thing. We know this thing that people are going to be, those individuals are going to be controlled by money. They were going to be bought. We see these things from far. You know, we have that so-called Jera view. We see the things even before they happen, you know. So, as for this independent, Now we are struggling now in the local municipalities. They don't do anything, and there is no way that we can hold them accountable. Thank you very much. We do not support the bill.
Thank you, members, for submissions. Can we invite further hands? Number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have 6 hands. You can join the sitting arrangements. Any other hand? Okay. We can start.
Ndiyabulisa kwindlu yonke kuqala. Ndingu-Alfred Sishuba ePito. Ndingu-Alfred Sishuba ePito. Ndibhilonga kwi-ANC, ndibhilonga kwi-MKMVE. Noba i-bill singaba siyayisapota, kodwa kwakufika kwindaba yama independent, ndifika ndixakeke ngokungcola kwepali kakhulu. Wonke umuntu obona ingathi unemalana anayo uyahamba yayorejistarisha, and nendlela abafumana ngayo abantu kwi-experience endinayo ubafumana nje for ithutyana. Aba bantu xa benobizwa emva kwe-elections babizwe kwayila independent, i-most yabo abafumaneki bephaya. Balungiselela nje kweli xesha nabanalo into yokuba bafumane into bazifumene i-most yabo, bangazilandeli iinkokheli zabo. Ndithetha ngento endiyaziyo. So iwesi uba bangabheka epalamente, bafike epalamente phaya, sibukela qho ipalamente into bayixoxa njani na. Now nale nto iyi-1 kufuneka imane uthatha imandate kuloo mntu amfinansileyo ngoba akwazi wona aziphumi kuzo iimali zazo, ziphuma kubantu abathile. Mhlawumbi koobhasi bani othi yenza le nto only for udisturba i-organization. Abantu basuka kwi-organization basuka ngemandate yabantu abaninzi. Siyababona ezilokishini zethu bangabantu abaphuma belandelwa ngabantu. So independence ziyandixolela mna ngokwazo umcimbi wakho wazo andiwuboni kakuhle. Nkosi.
Previous speaker is from the ANC and the MKMVA. They would support the bill, but they get confused when it comes to the word independent, because from experience, most of these independent candidates disappear after a while. Some of them are funded by people who want to control them in order to destabilize political parties. Then they would rather deal with political organizations because they know that they have the backing of the communities that they come from.
Okay, thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, and thank you for this opportunity to address the committee. My name is Mark Willemse, and I serve currently as the Executive Deputy Mayor of the Knysna Municipality, and I'm an independent, supported by the Knysna Independent Movement, as well as One South Africa. Firstly, Chair, I must submit my utter disappointment at the poor progress of this amendment bill before us today. It is now almost 2 years that the Constitutional Court pronounced the judgment for Parliament to amend this Act. And we are only at this juncture, at this present moment. And this is public participation. And this doesn't bode well for the timeframes ahead for any further meaningful engagements on this bill. The Concord pronounced itself on the meaningful reforms to the Electoral Act to allow for independents to participate in national and provincial elections. And today we are here because Parliament now wants to ram home an amendment bill based on a minority report from the Ministerial Advisory Committee. Chair, this is not true democracy at play, when the people are not given all the true facts or a choice, but merely here to endorse the decision already made. Chair, this process, if not handled correctly and democratically, will only see further legal action. Honourable Chairperson, the current electoral system is hinged on a political party concept, negating any form of the concept of every citizen that has the right to be elected to office and to vote for whomever they deem worthy of office. Chair, in my case as an independent, my role in society is critical in filling the open space left by the community contempt for the current political party system. There are many voters who no longer resonate with the empty promises of political parties, who put party political ideology ahead of democratically serving the people. These people now have a voice in local government, as I represent them and my colleague who was voted in as well. Currently, we garnered the third largest amount of votes in Knysna as independents, behind the two major parties, namely the DA and the ANC. And I am a former member of one of those larger parties. Chairperson, the people must govern. It is time for the people to govern. Independents will play a critical role in service delivery going forward. The space that we provide takes away the idea that you have to belong to a political party to have representation at any level, whether it be at local government, whether it be at provincial or in national parliament. It'll take away the space that is currently serving or not serving our local communities or our country as a whole. Because if you do not belong to a political party that currently has either a councillor or a member of parliament, the idea is that you are not being served. And that is where independents play a major role going forward. We do not speak to a specific political doctrine. We serve the community. I am there to serve the community. And that is the votes that were given to us, to represent a certain section of the people that do not believe in the current political dispensation. As we see, there is plenty of infighting amongst political organizations, internal strife. And our communities are tired of that. Why must they see the leaders fighting amongst each other that are meant to lead our country? And that is where independents will play a critical role in our country going forward. We will provide a different space to represent a community of people that are tired of the politics that serves them. Chairperson, I want to raise a couple of concerns that is currently before us on the amendment bill, and that is the discarded vote. Full equality can only be achieved if we have a proper proportional representative system. The system would see independent candidates able to transfer surplus votes to a nominated recipient going forward, thereby not wasting any votes at all, thereby all votes counting. That would be the perfect situation. Currently, an independent would need double the amount of votes required to be sent or to gain a seat than that of a political party. So it shows bias towards political parties against those of independents. And this does not reflect our true democratic process. The second one would be limited access. In terms of the Electoral Amendment Bill, independent candidates are not able to contest the 200 national to national seats in the National Assembly. These seats are exclusively reserved for political parties, thereby limiting the rights of independent candidates. Political parties have a distinct advantage that even if they do not achieve the number of votes regional representation requires, they still could possibly gain a seat in the National Assembly. Honourable Chairperson, these are just some of the issues that cast a shadow of doubt over the constitutionality of the Amendment Bill. The fact that we are here to decide on a minority opinion speaks volumes to the current process and the level of disregard to the judgment delivered by the highest court of our land. It is now time for independence to be recognized. We can provide a positive contribution to our democratic society and place political parties under pressure. Political parties have had it too easy over the years because there's no pressure on them to deliver the services our countries require. I therefore reject the bill as it currently is, as it provides no choice other than rubber stamping a decision already made. Chairperson, I thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much. My name is Simon Mshotana, Ward 4 in George. I'm a member of the EFF, and like the former speakers of the EFF has stated here that we reject this bill. And I think they've covered me well in terms of why we are rejecting it. But what I also want to add is that when you look at these political parties already, you have so many leaders who are resigning from their political parties because of opportunism, of not getting positions. And then now he has money to also go to stand as an independent. So, and some of them, they have a constituency, so people will vote for them. And they will go to parliament. Where already at parliament you have Amasel. You are adding opportunism to Amasel. And then you are going to have also people who are going to be standing as independents who are sent by other people with money. You are adding agents also to the parliament. Now, the question you must ask, the answer you must give to my question is that, how are we strengthening democracy when we are adding all those things to parliament? Because when you want to pass a bill, the bill should speak to the people, that how are you going to change the lives of our people with this bill? And then how are you going to strengthen democracy? And by strengthening democracy, I don't mean strengthening democracy by democracy for politicians only, where you are going to open a space for opportunism to enter. But I mean, how is this bill going to help us to change the lives of our people? I don't see it doing so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Ndiyabulisa ngaphakathi komhlangano. Igama lami nguVuyiswa kwaSikuni. Ndilivolontiya laka-ANC. Ndimi apha phambi kwepalamente nami ndinesicelo. I-bill siyayibona, kodwa ke kukho umba lowe independent esingawuvika kuhle. Abantu asuba banamdla ukuvota, but abantu bayaconfuswa kulo mcimbi we-independent. Bathi bowushiywa zi-process abantu bavuse i-independent, kodwa besikhanvasa sonke sibonisa abantu ukuba kuhle so kulunge so, kodwa sawushiywa zi-process siqale sivuse i-independent. Umcimbi wethemda nguwo lo wenza ilizwe lethu lingami, ngoba kaloku sithi sawushiywa zi-process siye kwi-independent, sifike phasi sithembisane kuba singenela nje kamasipala uyofumana ezathenda, sityebisane thina sizi-friends neetshomi zethu. So iyasihlukumeza kakhulu, ngase xa siya kunyulo luzayo ube umcimbi we-independent uselwe iliso kuba uyaconfusa kakhulu enkosi.
I'm a volunteer in front of, and I am against the independent. They make promises and we left processes. Independents benefit from tenders. Independent and the municipalities for tenders and richness of themselves. That's all that they are struggling and working for. I am totally against this.
Thank you. Next.
Goedemiddag, groet die chair, die paneel. Mijn naam is Felix September, ik is van Oudtshoorn, vertegenwoordiger wijk 4 en ik is een DA-member. Eerstens, het mij om een wendensteek ondersteunen die bal. Want hoe kan ons vandaag komen zeggen, ons ondersteunen die bal, zo automatisch, als we teruggaan naar 1993 toe, dan moeten we daar al besluit gaan maken. Want daar hadden we gaan stemmen voor democratie. Daar hadden we ons vrijgemaakt om te staan voor dit waar jij gelooft. Als jij voelt in jouw wijk, jij kan jouw mensen representeren, dan kan niemand vandaag voor jou komen zeggen, jij kan niet. Tweedens, daar moet een criteria komen bij hierdie independence. Want enige een wil vandaag independent wees. Politieke partijen gebruiken ook independence om die andere kandidaten zwakker te maken als het komt bij de kiezers. So daar moet een criteria geschept worden als het komt bij die independence. Maar independence moet daar wees. Ons kan niet vandaag komen zeggen, als ik je terugvat, als een man, wat staan er 3 uit die schoollites, die president kan raak van Zuid-Afrika. Wie ik en u vandaag om van ander een te kunnen zeggen, dat hij is niet goed genoeg om van zijn constituency, zijn wijk waar hij staan, te gaan staan daar niet. Ja, bij het verkeerde doeleindes. Waarom wil je daar naartoe gaan? Maar dat is vandaag te komen zeggen dat alle independents wordt nou in de bucket gegooid. En allemaal wordt onder één kam getrekt. Allemaal is daar niet voor die mensen, niet voor jezelf. So ik stem niet samen met die stelling. Baie van ik het baie gehoord, baie partijen wat zeggen, hulle stem niet samen. Maar ik praat namens mezelf, maar ik vertegenwoordig die DA. Maar ik kom niet met een mandaat die van hulle af. Ik kom met een mandaat van mijn constitutie van die wijk af. Ons ondersteunen independence. Maar u als het parlement, u moet de criteria scheppen. Als jullie kandidaten en raadsleden kan aanstellen wat voor krachtzaken heeft, moordenaars is, als nog eens een dag in, als nog eens ingezien, dan schieten de mensen dood. Wie is hier die parlement om vandaag te komen zeggen dat die persoon is niet goed genoeg om zijn mensen te gaan vertegenwoordigen? In zijn constitutie, wie die mensen vertrouwen, dat is niet goed genoeg om te gaan staan voor de belangen. Zo dan moet ons die democratie helemaal één kant toe gooien. Want waar is die values? Freedom of speech, freedom of alle die goede waarvoor ons gevecht. Ons heeft het nou. Zo die parlement moet gaan bezinnen. Skip criteria. Hoe maak je een verkrachtig een raadslid? Hoe maak je iemand die tronk komt een raadslid? Nou wil je vandaag komen zeggen, ons kan die mensen independence maken. So, ons moet hier een streep trekken waar ons, wat ons recht aan wil hebben als Zuid-Afrikaners. Wil ons democratie hebben, of wil ons terugbeweren naar die oude apartheidjaren toe, waar je niet een zee gaat, waar je van niks kan gestaan het. So, dat is al. En dan wil ik je volgende zeggen, ik is hier vandaag voorbereid, want ik heb gisteravond eerst gehoord van hierdie baie belangrijke meeting. Dan zal ik meer voorbereid geweest het vandaag hier voor u. Maar baie dankie voor die gelegenheid.
What the former speaker said, he's Felix September from the DA, he's from Oudtshoorn. He alluded to the fact that what is it that we want, if we wanted to vote against this, we should have changed this in 93 already. We should have made a decision in 1993 already for democracy. If you feel at this time, if you feel that you want to represent, you must be afforded the opportunity to do so. But what he says that he does not speak on behalf of the DA, but he speaks on behalf of the branch which he's coming from. He says that the only thing that needs to be added to this bill in so far as the independent candidates is concerned, there must be created a criteria, because what is happening currently is that political parties are using these independents to weaken other parties at the same time. So if someone wants to stand and has the backing of the people, he must be afforded the opportunity to do so. And the next question that is asking, if Parliament, if someone, like the former president, someone with a standard 3 can become a president of the country, what is stopping our people now, those that are standing as an independent? Are we saying that independents cannot become presidents while we have afforded the other one with a standard 3 to become a president? He says that we support the independence, although it is not the DA's mandate that I speak for, but I speak on behalf of the branch where I'm coming from. And what he says is that he says that what we need, we are appointing people who have criminal records, someone who is today appointed as a councillor and the next day they shoot and kill people. What is it that we really are looking for? Are we looking for democracy, or are we looking for an old apartheid system? Therefore, I support the bill insofar as the independent candidates are concerned. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So it's not speaking on behalf of the DA, but it's speak on behalf of the branch.
Of the branch which is coming from. As it so, steek net die hand op as ek reg verstaan het. I praat naam.
No. I didn't want him to respond. I want to ascertain my notes. That he's not speaking on behalf of the DA, but he's speaking on behalf of the branch of the DA.
Of the branch of the DA.
Okay. No, in the process we learn, so I wanted to satisfy my understanding.
Thank you, Chair.
Proceed, thank you.
Yes, greetings to the panel and to people present. My name is Bandile Mlindazwe. I'm from Pito Municipality. I'm the regional command team of the EFF in the Southern Cape. Mine is to put a point of emphasis to what I will call the position of the EFF regard to the tabled bill. One, we will understand and accept and respect the rule of law in terms of the court judgment in regard to the issue of putting the IEC into task in dealing with the matter of independence and proportional system that we are currently have. But having said that, it doesn't make us to be confused in looking the current approach in which the bill is brought to us as the communities and as the leaders, to that the bill is coming really on a short period of time, whereby we knew, and the parliament knew, that the Concord judgment happened in 2020 in June. I want to put an emphasis on that as to say we cannot be made a kind of voting cows to rubber stamp the bill as it's suggested now. Once again, we already know that the IEC doesn't have a capacity with the current system which is in place. At the local municipality level, the IEC always found wanting. Now, we also feel that there is no way that the IEC will champion this bill, having the IEC that is already failing to be on par in regard to the current statutes which they're supposed to champion. Looking at the bill itself, you can look at the entire document as drafted. The document is giving task to the IEC that we are aware that is failing, and we also suspect that it's used by the ANC in lot of electoral processes. We are standing tall to say, if this bill ought to come to our people, it should be entertained with ample time, and it should also be the bill that will first also shape the IEC
as the Electorate Commission in order to have a capacity that can at least give us confidence. I want to note that this bill shouldn't be also looked as a new approach of divide and rule our communities here. We believe that everyone's got a right, but the rights come with the responsibilities. Having said that, we cannot forget our historical background. Where is this country coming from? The divide and rule system was used by those so-called who were making laws in making sure that they put laws which will favor their supremacy. Now, during democratic dispensary, we believe that we need to have a rule of law that won't be biased. When we speak of the law that goes to ukhulula abantu bethu, we should speak of the law that will be suitable for the disadvantaged people. We cannot allow and take this bill and accept this bill because it's clear that it's another new approach of divide and rule our people. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ndiyabulisa kwipaneli phambi kwethu. NguSiphiwo Sono ifana. Into endiyithandayo ngam kuba ndiqhelene ne-apartheid. Ndaye ndaqhelana nenkululeko, le nkululeko ndiyifumeneyo. Apho sithetha khona okanye apho ndithetha khona ndidla ngothethela abantu abangakwazi uzithethela. Xa sinoqaphela kuthiwa kukho le bill ikhoyo ifuna iamendwe iyomthuzimele. Le bill ubangela ibe khona zizizathu zabantu abasepalamente. Because the time kuthiwa kuzawuvotwa bangena apha ekuhlaleni baze nemanifesto zabo. After that kugqitywa uvota awusoze uve nalinye ilungu kuthiwa nali ilungu lasepalamente. Uva nje kuthiwa nangamalungu asepalamente awuvi nereport ke kuthiwa kuzwa kuni bantu kuzothathwa ingxelo zenu ukuthi ngoku nali ilungu elikhoyo elisepalamente elimele nina. Now ke ngoku abantu babone into yoba no iyona nto ibangela into yoba makubekho abantu abangothuzimele. Yenziwa yintoni? Yinto yoba ipalamente ugqitywa kwayo uvotelo abantu bahlala phaa ezitulweni phaa phezulu abazi ebantwini abazi bazofuna uzoqonda into yobana ungaba na emveni uba nisinivotele nithini na. Kodwa nge-understanding yam endinayo akhona amalungu adeployiweyo epalamente for iprovince okanye i-area nge-area. But loo nto leyo ayenzeki awaboni la malungu. Eyona ngxaki inkulu ke ndithanda le nto into yobana kucinywe le license because the license yongena ngepati epalamente kuthiwa makubekho inatsika i-learners abantu abangozithuzimele mabaze nge-learners. Xa ungena ngepati kukho into ezithile ongazokwazi uzenza kungcono uze nge-learners yakho apho khona uzawukwazi ukukhontrola ngehlobo ufuna ngalo. Because abazoreport abazo-account abantwini ndinayo i-understanding yaloo nto leyo. Okwesibini into ebangela ukuthi kube nzima kangaka apha ekuhlaleni kwindawo yonke sineproblem yento enkulu endingayaziyo noba urhulumente uyayibona okanye akayiboni ndinesho nto uyayibona. Sinengxaki ye-apartheid enkulu ekhoyo ephakathi kwethu. Yintoni le apartheid? Yitiki, zii-drugs ezitshaywa ngabantwana ekuhlaleni. Urhulumente uyayibona loo nto leyo but akho nix eyenziwayo ngaloo nto leyo. Abantwana umntana kulo nyaka kuphela bebhalutene abanye babo abanye banqwakunqwaku ngoku. Umntana akakwazi ubheka phambili ngenxa yele tiki ivunyelweyo and ugovernment wethu ayaziyo ukuthi ikhona into obumila bunje. Sithi sawuphakama ke ngoku thina kuthiwa senza izonofobia. Ingasoyizonofobia. Ingxaki yintoni? Yi-anger ye-drugs ekhoyo kii-areas sihlala kuzo. Ukuba bekho amalungu kuyasepalamente ebekhona besinokwazi ukuthi ezi zinto sizithethe immediately kuwo siwakhokhele sithi masihambeni niyoyibona le nto nantsi le nto yenzekayo kodwa nihleli phaa epalamente asiyazi ni-account okanye nirepota ntoni ngeMosselbay okanye nirepota ngetawuni yaseMosselbay anirepoti ngee-areas abantu abapho bahlala khona abantu abamnyama nabantu namakhaladi. I'm sorry bandibize elikhala lamakhala kuthiwa malipheliswe labantu bebala. So yona ngxaki esinayo ye-apartheid enkulu engase urhulumente ayilwe. Kusenokwenzeka naba bantu bathi bangongithuzimele mhlawumbi banayo indlela yokufuna ukulwa le apartheid inkulu yetek, because sikwazi ukuliwa apartheid yaphela but itek ayikwazi uliwa kodwa iyaziwa phikhoyo. So ndithethela ke isikakhulu abantu abangakwazi uzithethela. Enkosi umhlala ngaphambili.
The previous speaker is Piwa Sono, and he says that he used to be vocal in the apartheid era as well as in this new freedom dispensation. He normally speaks on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves. So he says that the parliament members only come to the communities when it's voting time, and they never even come back to report back after that or to seek mandates from the people that they represent. He says the reason why we have independent candidates now is stemming from that. And he says that he views this license to get into parliament for political parties like the proper driving license, and then the license that's being afforded to the independents, he refers to it as a learner's license. He didn't explain why. He says that here in Mosselbay, the biggest problem, which he refers to as apartheid, is the drug problem. There is a problem, a huge problem with drugs in the area, and the people in parliament are aware, but nobody's doing anything about it. He says that matriculants are also affected by drugs and cannot get meaningful employment. He says the community, when they react out of anger, they are accused of being xenophobic. Parliament is not visible at all to assist with this problem. What reports are they giving in Parliament about Mosselbay, he wonders. And then he says maybe the independent candidates will do something to fight the drug problem.
Thank you very much. Is there any other hand? It's our understanding that we are closing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there any other hand? Can I invite, well, I have 8 hands here that we have recognized. Okay. I'm sure all of us who have recognized, who have not spoken. Can you confirm that? All that we have invited now, they have not spoken. Eh? Can I check? No, let's relax. Why not? I saw your hand, ma'am. You've raised your hand. Are you raising your hand or you just? Yes. Yeah, you can join. Can we check that all of us who have invited, who have not spoken? All of them, they have not spoken.
If you did speak, then you're not going to get the time again. No? Yes, you must be fair.
Okay, let's not disrupt. No, why, is this your meeting? Let's not disrupt. We have a way to handle it. It's not a major problem. Don't disrupt him. I know he has spoken. That's why I was just confirm that members of, is this your meeting? You're alert. I think we're appreciative of that one. So what we're going to do, once we have checked that there's no any other person that must contribute, then we'll invite you.
So,
Once we have checked that there's no any other person that must contribute, then we'll invite the gentleman. Yeah. You can see we're not suppressing anyone here. Once everyone is finished and he has an addition to make, we'll invite him. Effectively, it's going to be the last person after we've checked if there's no any other person. So I want to give all members to contribute so that we don't duplicate. Because we're recording here, we're taking notes. So we must be consistent in terms of our process approach. You can proceed, thank you.
Ndizibulisela emhlale ngaphambili. Ndizibulisela nakwindlu yonke igama ngoxola wakwaMakinana eGeorge Ward 13 imember EFF. CEFF istand sethu sitsho sithi asiyisupport le bill. And then ke bese zitshilo ezinye iimembers zethu apha ngaphambili uba le bill lena izobangela ichaos kakhulu eSouth Africa kwi-administration ka-IEC nakuyo eParliament. And ke ndine-belief ethi xa uvulela umoya ofresh uyakwazi kungangeni imoya ofresh kodwa kungeni nempukane. Ngohlobo luthi bakhona amasela agxothiweyo emibuthweni yawo ngoku ajonga le opportunity makaphinda abuye ayolutha viri nelast cent seyishiyekile for unceda abantu abahluphekileyo. Iyo loo nto ke ngoku kuba bengakontrolekanga apho bebesuka khona aqonda umuntu makayoba yi-independent somewhere ayorobha abantu bakuthi bamavotele athathe zonke ezimali because uyayazi uba uyi-beneficiary ye-apartheid zikhona ezimali zokumsupport bamakenza i-campaign. Siyayi-rejecta ke loo nto siyi-EFF eso space asisinikezeli tu sithi phandle ngalo mba lowo. Kwaye sisitsho sisithi even yona i-constitutional court leyo andiyazi bisi-alawa njani ispace esinje. Siyayazi wonke umuntu une-right but ke iyacaca uba okay ezi laws zayo zezi saz-inheriteta kwinantsika kwi-apartheid system. And then kwalapha ku-local apha local le nto ye-independent asiyiva kakuhle kwayona because aba bantu aba-account akho lapho ba-account khona baziranela njengonomgogwana babo aba-account aba bantu abayi-even kule constituent bathi i-constituent yabo kwabantu babavoteleyo. And ke loo nto ndinombuzo kwamna apha kwabantu bayizise ngaphambili kuthi le nto uba njengoba isenzeka masithi iyavumeleka uba ibe yi-independent candidate uvotelwe in order to have a seat kwi-national parliament you need 500,000 I believe 500,000 votes then ube ne-seat and then ube ngu-25,000 kwi-provincial parliament. Masithi ke unazo i-resources because of i-bosses zakho zikufandile uba hamba othenga abantu bakuthi bakuvotele ufumane 2 million then ufumane loo vote yakho iyi-1 1.5 voters yonke yi-waste leyo yabantu bakuthi bavotele wena because uzofumana le seat yakho iyi-1 kube kukho abantu abayi-1.5 kula 2 million abakuvotele yi-waste leyo ye-votes. Iloo nto leyo singayivumeli esi space esi se-independent. I hope ke zonke ezi input zaba bantu bebezithetha apha zizoba ne-contribution ezinto ziyakhawunta because zikhona nezinye i-public hearing ebezikhona apha ezifana nezomhlaba akukabikho response tu oko silindile noba yiminyaka yazi okokuqala yaphinde yabuya sasilapha kwelolo linye but zange sabuyiselwa ne-feedback. Let's hope sizophinde si-experience into eyi-one once and again. Thank you.
The previous speaker is Ola from George, from Ward 13, is an EFF member. They don't support the bill, as has been previously said by all EFF members. They believe that it will create more administrative chaos in Parliament and both for the IEC as well. They say that it's also creating an opportunity for thieves who were expelled from their organizations to be able to contest as independent candidates. And those are people who couldn't be controlled by organizations, and now they will be accountable to nobody else. And he also made an example of a person who might be funded by their boss, and then they get 5 million votes. And then he wanted to know what happens to the surplus votes that will be wasted. And he also wanted to know how can the Constitutional Court allow this law to be the law that we're busy deliberating on. He says this looks like we're going back to the apartheid system. And then lastly, he says to the committee that he hopes that all the views will be taken into consideration and that something will come of them. He mentioned that there were numerous land public hearings and they've received no feedback from them.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings to the guests and to the chief. My name is Moses Taylor. I am a member of EFF in Eisner Ward 4. On my point of view and ethic to my members, government and the conjunction has failed us as the people of South Africa. We as the EFF, we state as we reject this thing of independent candidates because in most of the independent candidates, all they know is bribing. We don't tolerate it of this thing of independent candidates because most of them are under corruption as now. I'm in the 4IR, born after 1994. What do I see in South Africa that's bad? Nothing. There's nothing bad that the government has done for me. I'm now, even today, unemployed. What have the government done for us as youth of South Africa? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eunice Kama. I'm from George. I am RCT member of EFF. I'm coming from Ward 12 in George. Okay. As the EFF, we do not support the bill because as a country, we do not think that we are ready to administrate for the bill, both from the EIC and Parliament, over and above other political charges will bring. We already have many useless political parties in Parliament who are not accountable to any, and that is a disgrace for the democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Mandibulise ngu-Eric Kamdaka lo George nguceba kwa 12 phansi kombutho we-ANC. Singu-ANC siyayisupporta le bill kumcimbi we-proportional representation kodwa kumba kazimele geqe asihambisane nawo. Okokuqala lo mba kazimele geqe uzawubeka noxinzelelo kwaku-IEC U-IEC senoxinzelelo olukhulu sesibona naxa kuvotwa ubona okokuba mninzi ubuso obupha obuza kwenza indidane nakubavoti. Okunye abazimele geqe kulula ukuthengeka kwabo kwaye akho apho balawulwa khona benza unothanda ngoba akho mntu uza kubabamba okanye ba-akhawunte khona. Siyabona okokuba nanjengoba kusanda imibutho ngenxa yabantu abafuna uphatha bephethwe, loo nto ibonakele epalamente ukuba ngoku sesile mibutho emininzi eyenza okokuba kungabikho lawuleko kwasepalamente. Abazimele geqe ke baza kwenza okokuba norhulumente wethu angabi nalawulo okanye angabi nalo uzinzo. Ibeke ke uMzantsi Afrika egcabaseni lokokuba kungabikho nto ibheka phambili. Yile nto ke sisithi asihambisani ke nozimele geqe, yona nto kumangela okokuba ingathi ibe nokutshintshwa. Enkosi.
Thank you.
I'm Eric, I'm from George, from Ward 12, a councillor of the ANC. Do not support or do not agree with the matter of independence. There are problems created for the IEC. Many persons will create problems. Independence will be easily bribed. They will not be subjected to being governed. They will not account for what they are doing. There would be an unnecessary increase in numbers. Persons are greedy, they just want to govern. No rule, this will create no rule in parliament. Our government will have problems. There will be no progress in South Africa. Therefore, I do not at all agree with the issue of independence. I thank you.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Greetings to all. My name is Hilton Ludik, ek is van Kanaland. My vraag wat ek wil vra in parlement is, wat sien dat ons nou so baie korrupte politieke amptenare het? Wat gaan parlement doen omtrent almal die korrupte amptenare in die politiek wat so inmeng by al die munisipaliteite? Dit is my vraag wat ek wil vra, wat gaan parlement doen omtrent die mense? Want weer, omdat deur die mense gebeur al hierdie dinge wat vandag gebeur, waar al die klagtes uitkom. Daar's te veel korrupte officials in politiek wat inmeng by die munisipaliteite. Dankie.
My name is Jan Ludik. I'm from Kanaland. My question is as follows. Seeing that we have such a lot of corrupt officials and members who are interfering with the protocols and activities at municipalities, what are we going to do? And especially because it is because of them that we are having all these questions that we are having today. If they are in this fashion, what is it that we are going to do? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. My name is Warren Jonas. I'm from Mosselbay, Ward 2. My question is, what will government do about the students who are not funded by NSFAS and they want really to go to school and they want to go to college, I mean. So we are experiencing a very poor support from government, especially because when it comes to our people and our students, black people, it's very, very poor, the services, because of we are not getting enough support from each and every political party in our colleges. Each and every year, we are striking for this NSFAS, and each and every year, there's people are dying for this money. But when it comes to the education, there's no education for us for free. We want free education. That's what we want as youth. And job creation. Why are we still in the job? Huge unemployment. We want job creation for our people. Local government must create for us job. We are putting uneducated people in positions that is not supposed to be in that positions. They are getting numbers from people. They are explaining to people what they will do, but they're not implementing in our communities. And when they are there in that higher position, they are not asking our people. They are not going to our people, and service deliveries is very poor for our people. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I greet you, leaderships. My name is Nomawethu Lugodlo. I'm coming from George. I'm a member of EFF and an RCT member. As the EFF, we do not support the bill. As the other members have said, we do not think that the bill is gonna bring any new things to South Africans, because we are already in a bad manner. The thing is, this independent candidate bill, I don't think it has anything to do with people wanting to improve South Africans or to do what is right for South Africa. I think it's just another way of looting the money from the poor, because we already have the government that is doing that for us. So we don't need another people to do that for us. We are fed up, because there's nothing new that they will bring on board. They are just people who are coming from other parties. They were the members of the parties. Yes, we are all coming from the parties that we know. We got fed up by what we got fed up of. People stealing from the poor, people doing things that they don't do what they promised us when they want us to vote for them. When people are there, they forget about the people who voted for them. Now, I think this thing of the independent candidates, they want to do the same thing because they've seen that there on top, people are looting money. So they want to go there also to loot the money. So we don't support this thing of this bill. We understand that people are not working because our government, the government of South Africa, has told us straight to our faces that there are no jobs in South Africa. The government doesn't have jobs in South Africa. After promising us for a long time that he will be creating jobs, there are people who are not working. Even if there are jobs that are available, you will be told that they are only for the ones who are less than 35 years of age. But you can see in Parliament, there are gogos and grandpas who are sitting there who are supposed to be sitting at home feeding and playing with their grandchildren. But they are sitting there doing nothing but looting the money of the South Africans. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Molweni, ndabulisa kumalungu eParlamente, ndibulisa kumuntu okhoyo wonke. Igama lam ndinginobuzwe Mbolombo, i-former councillor yakwa Ward 2 apha eMosselbay, ilungu le-Women's League, i-SACP member, secretary of the branch of Fezikaloliwe branch apha eMosselbay. Mna ndizawungena kulaa ndawo ye-independent. Mna ndiyixhasi tu independent. ngexesha le elections esigqitha kuzo isenze kakubi kakhulu into ye-independent. Abantu sibagqibele bekuthi bhitibhiti bakwi-independent babulala imibutho and ke ngoku ufumaniseka nalapha ekuhlaleni ngoba kuthiwa masiqale apha ekuhlaleni usebenza ngoba soze ube yinkokheli ungakhange uqale apha ekuhlaleni. Funeka uqale ujonge apha ekuhlaleni abantu abahluphekayo, kukho abantu aba-abuzwayo, kukho i-crime, kukho i-drug dealers, more especially mna kwi-area endihlala kuyo gcwele i-drug dealers. And amapolisa andizukuthi akasebenzi ayazama but ayoyisakala. Uba iparlament inoza ne-solution, indawo endihlala kuyo mna kuthiwa kusezigarage but elona gama layo yikhaya elitsha eward 2. I-drug dealers zithengisa life and akho mntu uzawubeka ubomi bakhe esichengeni, koyiswa amapolisa. Ugovernment ingathi angehla pha ngentla. Enye i-challenge esinayo is a burning issue phaa kwapha eward 2 bekukho i-project esithe ngobe sisekhawnsileni kuba iward 3 noward 2 zidibene i-area 1. Sadibana nokuceba kweward 3 sadibanisa i-beneficiary committee saya kamasipala usikhomba province yade yeza i-project ye-rectification. Ngoku ndithetha nawe nje iyaphela akugqityanga. Kukho izinto ezinowanda ngomso uba kunganethi imvula zingawa bham. Anazi ke mna ii-powers ke ngoku. Ndicela ugovernment aqwalasele and siyathukwa kuthiwa singamasela ka-ANC. Loo nto ifuneka nina pha phezulu nenzi-follow up ngoba kaloku apha eWestern Cape akuruli i-ANC, ifika kurula abanye abantu. So nina yenzani i-follow up nijonge into yoba ziyenzeka na. Siyathukwa, nyamezela okokuthukwa ke. Enkosi.
Previous speaker is a Ward 2 councillor from the Fezeka Loliwe branch. They don't support the bill. She says that during the past elections, what they witnessed was that the independents are killing the political organizations. She says that no one can be a leader without having dealt with community problems first. Those community problems include abuse, drugs, etc. Says that the police, yes, they are trying, but they are not succeeding. The Ward 2 drug dealers are quite blatant. And then she says that there was a project that they were in collaboration with Ward 3, so it was Ward 2 and Ward 3, but they need government intervention in that as well because apparently things are not going as they had planned. And the last thing that she raised is that in the ANC they're being labeled as thieves. So Parliament needs to follow up and do right by the people because they are bearing the brunt on the ground.
Thank you. Can proceed, ma'am.
Goedemiddag allemaal. Ik is Geraldine Dirk. Kom van een klein plekje Setsfield af, tussen Nysna en George. Parlement, mijn pleidooi vandaag aan jullie is net dat die municipale geen omvallen kleine gebieden nie. Hulle concentreren net op die mijngebieden zoals Nysna, Plet enzovoorts. Die reden hoekom ik vandaag hier staan als een kandidaat, ik tegenwoordig geen partij nie, want ik wil individueel wees. Mijn reden daarvoor is omdat partijen brengen leerbeloftes naar tafel toe. Baie keer het ons gaan stem en dan daar niks daarvan gekomen nie. Geen vordering in Setsfield nie, geen huising, geen activiteiten nie, niks vir jongelingen nie, niks sportactiviteiten, is bezig om achteruit te gaan. Politieke partijen hebben geen respect voor elkaar deesdae nie. Dus hoekom die mensen, die gemeenschap voel, hulle wil niet meer stem nie, omrede hulle sien die beklei binnen die parlement. Volgens mij, die politieke partijen, hulle spring van één partij naar die andere partij. De reden voor dat weet ik niet. Maar mijn poging, wat ik zie, is dat gaan over meer geld, meer corruptie, meer positie om een beter kandidaat te wezen bij een andere partij. Want ik heb niet mijn eerste partij, heeft mij niet goed behandeld. Nie. Nou, ons als gemeenschap zien hier die dingen en wil net voor die parlement vragen om stiptelijk alle kandidaten dop te houden. Hulle is bezig met knoeierij, hulle onderhandel, posten, contracten gaan naar familieleden toe. Mensen wat die papier heeft, krijgen niet die contracten niet. Dus elke keer diezelfde mensen wat diezelfde contracten krijgen. Die andere ding van Zetschuld is, daar wordt altijd gepraat van pijrheid. Maar voor mij, als een inwoner van Zetschuld, zei dat één ding. Apartheid is nog niet uit een Zetschuld, nee. Want daar wordt, als die municipaliteit bel, als hulle beschikbaar is, als je die politie bel, alles is nice na. Als je die ambulance bel, is die beschikbaar. So al die kleine plekjes karakter, Zetschuld en goede, kom niet aan aanmerking bij ambulance nie. Ons mensen gaan dood in die locatie, ambulance is beschikbaar. So ik vraag alsjeblieft het parlement om net een voorziening te maken dat daar zulke dingen kan gebeuren. Van onze gemeenschap is bezig om uit te roeien in Zetschuld. Baie dankie.
I couldn't get her name though. She spoke softly. But she comes from a small community.
Okay, because you're on record, can you request her to indicate her name so that you are correctly capturing it?
Okay,
No,
shall
no.
I help?
She can repeat the name there.
Okay. So her name is Geraldine Dirk, and she comes from a small village between Neisner and George. Her issue is that municipalities don't take note of the small communities. They provide them with empty promises. They don't come back with any feedback. No activities for the youth are being provided to keep them busy. And also, she feels that most people do not want to vote because they don't see what's being done by Parliament, because they vote and then they just see there's a specific party that takes over the community, but nothing is being done about it. And mostly the politicians, she feels that they are more about money and positions. And also that what she requests is that you please pay attention to your candidates. And she also finds that mostly in communities, especially hers, because it's a very small community, you'd find that in one specific workplace, it's a whole family who works there. So, which means that everyone gets a job through connections, that you are going to employ your brother, your sister, and all that. And she feels that apartheid still exists in her community. For example, it's hard for them to reach ambulances, police stations are sometimes not even open. So she'd ask that you guys please pay attention to that.
Okay, thanks. You can proceed.
Manje sibulisele kubantu baseParlamente nabahlali. Ndinguzuzeka Chiliba, umhlali walapha eMosselbay. I'm sitting here and listening while people are deliberating about the whole thing of independence, whether should they continue to be voted for. And I'm kind of like, this must be a joke. Where did we get there? Are we threatened by the independence, or what is it that the government want? Because for me, in the olden days when we voted, in 1994, people knew what they want. And the reason is because we were speaking the same language. We were in the same page. The reason now we are having so many organizations, it's coming back to you guys. What is it that you've done wrong? And for us sitting here deliberating, ukuthi siyayifuna independent asiyifuni mayisuswe mayingasuswa. To me iyani-threatenisha. To me you are not ready ukuba ngaba nilungise mistakes that you've been doing all over and over again. Because the ANC, when the government sasinyula, yayingu-government wabantu for yayingu-government wabantu manditsho kanjalo. But that is no more. And that is the reason why now we are talking about the independence. Because for me, we were supposed to be sitting here talking about the project, talking about how do we empower our people? How do we make izinto be different for our people to make living? And then yet we are spending, I don't know how much you spend for this meeting, for us to come and sit here, asifuni independence. Not that it is independence, because nayo, it is back on a gap. You open the gap for the independent, and for me, to correct lendo independent, it's not to come here and sit when we laws and zikusele parties ezinkulu bamasiqhubeke ukwenza le mess ziyenzileyo. For me, it's for you guys to come down and do the right thing. The reason why we've been voting you all these years, and that automatically independent is back on. Independent because people are not happy. We can't run away from that. People are not happy. That's why they look around for answers to other people who might be coming with new things to make them to live. People want to live. People are hungry. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of many things that are not going right. And other parties now are taking advantage because you are not coming to us and address the issues that are there. I'm not going to talk about independent. I'm going to talk about a feeling that I have inside because sinibona namhlanje we're not sure ngomso sophinde sinibone. Nikhona for into bangaba sizoxoxa into ye-independent ukuba ngaba mayingabikho mayibe khona makuthi no guys ukuze independent ingabikho ugovernment esimonyulileyo makagxidike azokuhoya abantu bakhe ngendlela ebebevumelene ngayo ngendlela ebebethembisene ngayo lonto izawubangela into ba izinto zibuyele endaweni yazo. And futhi when electwa representation for abantu, let's make sure into bangaba akufakwa abantu ngokwe si prefer law sifuna law singamse angafakwa umuntu because uya deserve and this person uzo deliverisha to the communities. Simfake because this is my cousin, simfake because this is my friend, simfake because une popularity. What about service delivery? At the end of the day, siphinda sinyathel for this 20, how many, I don't know, I'm not answer government, but ingxaki eyayikhona isekhona namhlanje. We keeping on ukuvotela nina because for me, what the independent and what you guys are doing is the same. Independent, I report in now. Nikhona ni big organizations, ni report up. You are not reporting. So, sikwebabani up. Masinga abusing power because we are still sitting there and maske sigobeni uphondo ske sihlaleni phansi sibuyele back to the drawing board sicheckishe ukuthi simoshe phi, where did we get this thing wrong, yonakele kuphi, sizayifixa kuphi. There are things need to be fixed, and in as long we're going to come here and talk the independent as if now we are threatened by them. No, they are not the threat. The reason they are here is because of many gaps. So if we can do what we promised people, this will come to an end.
What had been addressed partly by the member is that we want, it's not that we are against independence. We are not ready to fix our issues correctly as the African National Congress. It used to be the government of the people. We must look and see how things could be made to be decent. We need to discuss the independence or not. We are not here to make laws to miss government. Do right things do what we voted you for. We see you today, but tomorrow we do not know where you are. The government must be close to the people. It should address issues there, and it should be properly choosing of individuals or persons. How many years you are in government, that is not a matter of issue. We voted for you. Nevertheless, you are not reporting to us. Let us check where our mistakes were and how they could be addressed. Address the promises that were made to the people previously in the correct manner. I thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much. Is there any other person? Just sit down, my brother. You're going to be the last one. Okay. Is there any other person? Then we are working towards closing the meeting. So you agree that these are the last two? Okay. Is that our understanding?
Enkosi kakhulu mhlali ngaphambi.
Because this is your meeting. So I want to make
Thank
sure
you very
that
much, sir.
we consult. You can start.
My name is Peter Dichaba with an L. Mine won't be long because I've already submitted. Just want to welcome your visit here today, this public participation. I think this is called public participation. And also to try and correct some other mistakes that people came here and say things that we are not here for. We are here about the bill that have to go to Parliament, about the PR and others that are made mention here. The ANC supports that. They already made mention of that. People must stop from, when there's a public participation, if you belong to another organization, and come instead of discussing or debating the bill, and come and hammer other or lambast on other party, and forget that you came here to discuss the bill. You are not here to hear what the ANC or what the DA is doing. We are here to understand whether are people interested in debating the PR and what have you. Or we are not threatened by, the ANC is not threatened by independence that is happening here. No. Is the people outside that?
No, let me protect you. I'm sure you are aware that you are not fair to the meeting.
Thank you. By those words, let me say I support.
Let me finish, because I requested you to stop. You are not fair to the meeting. So I want to protect you so that you are within what you are saying, that you are here for the agenda item. Now, since in the morning, the people who raise the issues here, they've raised them because they are raising it to members of parliament. And it may not assist ourselves for you to respond to them, because they won't have a right to come and contest your view. So we want to protect you so that in a manner you're saying you want to debate, make submission to the amendment bill. Focus on that one, because you are moving outside the terrain on your platform.
I thank you. We support the bill and already submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker.
Manje libulele kakhona elithuba umhlali ngaphambili. Undinika lona. Uba ngaba bendinikwe ngelathuba bendisiza apha. Mhlawumbi ngesesiphumile. Because njoba ndihleli pha phansi ndimamele and wonke umuntu umamele. Wonke umuntu ebethetha political parties umuntu abezizele sithetha into enye akho nditshintshileyo. Naw bendizawuthi ke ngoku namna ngela xesha bendisiza ndizocela into bangaba ukukhona omnye umba usinike wona so that sizokwazi ba sibeke ezinye izinto ngoba lo mba webill wona siwusupportile sisonke singabaleli sithembe eyi-1. Okwesibini ndiyeva uthi urhulumente akaqhubi kakuhle. Yes, lilungelo lakho umuntu ayithethe loo nto. But lo rhulumente since 1994 wenze utshintsho apha eMzantsi Afrika. Even the world wenza utshintsho. Namhlanje sinelungelo lokuthetha. Namhlanje umama unelungelo loma athethe. But ukhama ujonga kugovernment owagqithayo. Umama bengemi athethe ngaphambili. Umama bengenalungelo lokubheka eRhawutini awusebenzela because of ugovernment o-apartheid. Nayo kwangena ugovernment wabantu umbutho ophethwe ngu-ANC watshintsha zonke ii-policies ezazikhona ngaphambili. Today wonke umuntu unelungelo lokwenza into afuna ukuyenza. Namhlanje siyakwazi ukudebate through le bill nize nayo but through government owagqithayo ebengekho loo mathuba njalo. So into bendiyizela ke mhlali ngaphambili apha into yokuba bendizawucela kuwe uyibambe le meeting because sithetha into enye asizunyathelo sikhona. Enkosi.
What the previous speaker was saying is that had he been afforded the opportunity when he was standing there and wanting to speak, we would have been all out by now. Because what he wanted to say was that the people here have been saying the same thing if you were listening to most of the speakers. He says that we've already exhausted the bill. Now he wanted to say that if there were any other issues, maybe we could be debating them. And then he also mentioned that since 1994, the ANC government has brought change to this country. We have now freedom of speech, which we didn't have with the previous government. And we have a lot of women rights that we didn't have previously. Today we can even debate the amendment of this bill, which we couldn't do with the previous government.
No, thanks very much. Thanks very much for the time we've been allocated. We've been listening carefully. Everyone who came here, they were not saying the same thing. They were expressing different views on the amendment of the bill. So we must not, and I think the guidance, get out of this meeting to say community members, they've been saying the same thing. It's our responsibility to assist everyone who came here, whether it's a political party, individuals, the Royal House. They were saying different things. Others support the bill, amendment bill, others they don't support, others support, but these are the conditions. So the impression of the last speaker, that in fact, in the first input you have been drawing, you contributed to this amendment bill. So your last input must not represent that we've been saying the same thing. With different views, which is good is that we're on record. Yeah. But I want to thank all of you who made contributions to this meeting. We have noted certain issues which are not within the program, which members have raised, and we've been doing it throughout the public hearings. We'll refer them to the public, to the other committee, because members of the committee here and others who are leading this team, we serve in different committees. We'll refer certain issues to the portfolio committee. I could take some areas which you have raised on the Ward 2 Khayelitsha. There's some issues, drugs, even somebody said here, the issue of student NSFAS, we've already referred to the gentleman, and we understand that if this gentleman of the NSFAS raised the matter, it's not his view. He may be speaking on other young people who are frustrated. So we've referred to him, and we'll take that up with the relevant portfolio committee and other issues that are being raised. There are other issues that are related to the spheres, the government, and are residing there in relation to service delivery and other issues which we have raised, and other issues that are with the parliament, which you have raised. So we wanted just to ascertain certain areas you have raised, which are relevant, which are directed to us, and others that are directed to the area of implementation phase at the level of government. We take counsel on some of the issues that you have submitted to the committee, and we've noted them, and we'll able to refer to other issues. The issues of the clinics, police station, which we raised in the main service delivery issues. We've taken notes. This research team, they're able to separate issues and the issues that we're dealing with here. But we want to thank you for coming to this meeting. I'm going to get Honorable Ross to do closing remarks and how we're going to, from here, this bill, how it's going to be processed, and later we'll then ask the administrator to talk to yourself. There's a matter I'm advised that they want to communicate to this meeting. Honorable Ross.
Thank you, Chairperson. So, Chairperson has thanked you all, and really this is such an important process that we are going through today. So the staff behind us, we've been around the whole country, every province of South Africa, and they've been capturing every input, every single input. And this goes together with the input that was requested at the beginning of the year in terms of written input from around the country as well. And then this will all go together in a report. And this report will then be considered by the Committee of Home Affairs to look at the different issues and to summarize and assist us in deliberating on the Act. So the committee will deliberate on the Act, and then that will go through to the National Assembly for consideration. After it goes to the National Assembly, then it will be passed on to the National Council of Provinces. And the National Council of Provinces, they are empowered to also have public hearings. And so they may at that stage also request public hearings. After the National Assembly has considered the provincial implications of this bill, then it will be passed back to the National Assembly for concurrence to support the bill, and then the President signs it in as an act. So we are now complete with this process. This is the last place that we are at. And thank you once again, and thank you to the staff for their incredible contributions to make sure that all your voices are captured in this process. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Ross, for your closing remark. Can we get it? I'm told one of he's just got injured today. Yeah, sorry for.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you to members. Good afternoon, stakeholders. As you are aware, we've been interacting with you, crisscrossing the whole garden route, informing you about the public hearings that you attended today. We want to appreciate for taking time, coming out in numbers, supporting the attendance of this public hearing. In our communication with you, while we were engaging with you, we also made commitments by promising that there will be, transport to ferry you from, where you are to come here and take you back. We also made, commitments that there will be, catering provided. I wish to apologize on that part. The communication was, incorrect when we received the communication that there will be catering. As the member, the chairperson has alluded earlier on that they've been traveling all over South Africa in different provinces, conducting these public hearings. There's not been any catering in any of those public hearings. But, as the communication, there was some missed communication that there will be catering on this one. We communicated to you that. And I wish to tell you that there is no catering. And so I want to sincerely apologize for not providing as we promised. Sorry. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. That's the reason we requested him to communicate. We also briefed, as we were on the table, that there was a communication to members of the public. And that's an apology which they are extending to yourselves. And we hope that it's unkind that you will receive the apology. We also informed that the gentleman got injured on his preparation for this meeting. We also wish you speedy recovery as we observe his status of outlook. We are now have, as Honorable Ross has made a concluding remark, we are taking your inputs and will then indicate in our deliberations when the committee is going to consolidate all the reports and then submit to Parliament for consideration in the manner Honorable Ross has outlined. Thanks very much. Our meeting stands adjourned.